This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Y'all,
Just
this
stop.
is a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Shut up, Dre.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah.
What were you guys just talking about?
Nothing.
I don't know. They
Well,
were having the conversation over
yeah.
me, so I want to know too.
So, Jure, our creative director, and I were having a conversation about me going in to get basically a facial
You need
treatment.
it. You look terrible.
Thank you.
Your face is
And
terrible looking.
Tori was like, I should have pushed because they told me I didn't need one.
Right.
But she was talking about a pap smear.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know how those two things
Because she was
got
like,
confused.
yeah, I have to get it on a regular basis and I'm due for one. So I was like, oh yeah, me too. And then we were very doing this.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure doing our last show, Jeff.
So many jokes, Al, so many-
Absolutely go
Yes.
in for your pap smear.
Thank you, Erica.
It is called an annual for a reason, ladies. So
Thank
let's
you.
take this opportunity to say, get your pap smear.
Appreciate that. Way to go.
Yes.
All right. On that note, there is more drama with Princess Kate Middleton, this time a possible security breach. So British authorities said they're investigating a report that an employee tried to obtain Kate's private medical records from the hospital where she had her surgery at back in January. Could you imagine? Look at the guards right there.
I know.
It's not clear if they actually got the files or not, and we're also hearing from the man who shot the video that TMZ obtained of Kate and William at the farm shop in Windsor. I'm sure you guys have all seen it at this point. He's slamming people who doubt it's her, calling them delusional. He told The Sun, quote, "What more do you need to lay off of her?" Finally, royal aides are reportedly planning to have Kate have a soft launch back into the public eye during Easter, which is only a few weeks away.
Okay, first of all, let's address Delulu Larry.
Okay, all right.
That's my favorite new word.
Larry.
Delulu's good.
Delulu's a great word.
We need you to, first of all, just take your money and zip it because your job here is done. We do understand that you absolutely need people to believe that that was Kate because that was a part of the payment plan. But I want you to get a new phone that is better than that grainy footage that you call an iPhone surveillance, okay? Let us speculate because that's what we're doing. And if anybody was really interested in putting this whole thing to rest, then the palace would allow Kate to just come out in public, seeing as how she looks very alive and well. Delulu Larry, you said it was her, so we don't believe you.
I agree with Erica. The man should sit down because honestly, that's not enough. The Bigfoot footage is not enough for us to say that we believe in it. What I don't understand is the idea that we don't I don't believe in the security breach at all. That's terrible. We should work on that. But at some
What do you mean
point,
you don't believe?
I
Oh,
think
you don't
it's
believe
terrible.
that they obtained those records?
No, I think it's horrible what they did. But I do believe that we have a right. I know people are like, why? Leave Kate alone. Leave Kate alone. At some point, we have a right to know if the future queen or queen consort is alive.
Well, they said Easter's the point.
I know, but they keep saying that, and they keep pushing it, and they keep going. I'm like, just show us with a newspaper today, because it will affect foreign policy. It will affect global stocks. It will affect things. And they keep saying, like, don't worry about it. We'll push it off, push it off. It means more to the people.
Stocks?
Yeah, it affects a lot. If someone
If the princess, if something happens to her, my Peloton stocks are
Yeah,
shot?
like when somebody big dies like that, it literally affects the stock market. And for them to keep hiding it and hiding it and hiding it, it affects a lot more than they seem to think it does.
Why are you trying to put death on this woman?
Because
every time it's like, if she's dead,
I think we have
Lord have
but
mercy.
you know what? I know what you're saying, but we have a right to know if she's
But I mean,
alive.
didn't they kind of tell on themselves, Erica, with the words that they used? They said that they're going to have a soft launch in Easter.
Yeah,
but if
because
that was
Kate
the
has
but if
risen.
that was the correct footage, then we've already had a soft launch. We just saw her. But aren't they saying that that's not her? If they're saying that there's going to be a soft launch, if they're saying that's her, then they would say we're going to continue
They've never said it's
with her
her.
soft launch.
I do understand
because that's
that.
her.
Yeah.
They've
But
never
if
said
they're
it's
saying
her.
we're going to have a soft launch, that means it hasn't happened yet, which means that that's not who we're looking at.
I'm just going to say, only one person can be resurrected on Easter, okay?
I know.
And it ain't Kate.
It's not my man.
Who
babe.
is it?
Amen. Amen, Erica. All right, let's get to this next story. Beyonce's new album, and Beyonce's the other person, by the way, who could be risen. Act 2, Cowboy Carter, will be released in 9 days. Yes! See how I did that with his finger? That was weird. All right. Yesterday, Beyonce went on Instagram to share info about making the album. She posted this amazing photo of herself along with a lengthy caption that said the album was 5 years in the making and, quote, born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcomed. She goes on to say that the criticism I faced when I first entered the genre forced me to propel past the limitations that were put on me. Many fans think she is alluding to the CMA performance with the Chicks, formerly known as, can you even say the word anymore?
Dixie
Oh, you
yeah.
can? I don't know what is acceptable, especially in a Beyonce story. Back in 2016, she and the band faced racist comments after the performance.
Okay, let me go into this very quickly. The official Billboard said Beyonce and the Chicks, that performance reportedly delivered the CMAs their highest rated 15 minutes ever. They then deleted the entire performance. She said, and it was clear that she felt completely disrespected. The musician T-Pain has claimed he's written several country songs, but done so anonymously because of the racism that comes with country music. And finally, she also said, this is not a country album, this is a Beyonce album.
Right.
She is separating herself from that industry.
Let me just be very clear about what happens with the Beyoncés of the world. When you shut a door on a Beyonce,
Right.
she will kick a window in the penthouse.
Exactly.
She won't even come in through the lobby.
And it's 5 years later.
Yeah, I want to just go back to the photo that Beyonce posted because, as we know, Tori is our resident art history major. What is this photo saying to you?
Okay, so for me, it was white horse, good against the darkness, but then it's going forward, but she's going backwards. So which direction are we going in this country? Which is a very interesting question. She's also owning the American patriotism, which I think is very important because some people have a gateway, like you say, to what is American and what is patriotic, and she's saying, I claim it.
As a dad, I'm just like, she's sitting very dangerously on that seat. That's all I see. I'm like, put your other leg over. I'm worried.
I just think it's a very powerful image, and it is like it's a reclamation, if you will.
Absolutely. Just like Renaissance was about European white art, she's taking back patriotism. It's great.
Well, I hope she doesn't fall and hurt herself because it could affect my Apple stocks. Coming up on DBL, producer Dan Schneider is responding to the allegations that came to light in a new docuseries about Nickelodeon and our interview with Steve Sharippa. He's talking about his long run on Blue Bloods and the show's final season. Bobby Bacala.
This ain't Texas, ain't no hold'em. Lay our cards down, 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 down. So park your Lexus, throw your keys out, so go round, 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 round.
All right. We are on.
Quiet on set.
Yes.
Two beats.
You know, Erica,
First one is
I
about
wish you had told the people, like, you've worked in country. So you've seen this from a very
after that,
inside and outside perspective.
Yes.
And, you know, I feel like country music has this conundrum that they're in because
there's also a call to
they have a bass that is fine with, you know, Lil Nas X and anybody that wants to contribute to the culture. They just love the music. It reminds them of them being home. We saw the duet with Luke Combs and Tracy
maybe
Chapman.
I will bring that up.
Everybody had a moment. But there is this other large contingency of country that don't want no new friends. And so as country music, who's just trying to monetize as much as they can, I feel like they're always like, what can we do to keep our base happy while appearing at least to be progressive? We saw this a little bit with NASCAR, but not to the same extent.
Yeah, I think anytime you have gatekeepers of culture, particularly when it's meant to be a part of their identity. So if it's rooted in what, like, basically you're saying that country music has a history of there's been this white supremacy element to country music, and they're gatekeeping that culture, if you can call it that, of white supremacy. And that's a loud minority voice. But I think when you start getting into major superstars, like if you've ever been to, I've been to a couple of big concerts in actual, you know, football stadiums, 70, 80,000 people, and you're not getting those people, that's not the majority of the people. When you start to have that level of fame and that level of an audience, the diversity within that crowd is actually far greater than people would would ever know or acknowledge. So what you're seeing is that you're getting louder voices coming from places that weren't necessarily the gatekeepers of country music, but what country is finding out is there are a lot of people who are into country music that don't fit that, and that they need to welcome that in. So I don't know. It's kind of a complicated situation.
You can see the CMA's like, Jesus.
Say that again.
Welcome back. All 4 parts of the Nickelodeon documentary, Quiet on Set, aired on ID earlier this week. It covered the alleged sexual abuse, racism, and sexism that took place on several Nickelodeon series during the early 90s and 2000s. Just think about that. At the center of the docuseries is Dan Schneider, who was behind shows like The Amanda Show. He faced allegations of misconduct on set and has been accused of sexualizing scenes in some of the shows. So yesterday, Dan Schneider responded to the docuseries. Here's what he had to say about it.
Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology. I wish I could go back, you know, especially to those earlier years of my career, and bring the growth and the experience that I have now and just do a better job.
We could circle back to that. But also in the docuseries, actor Drake Bell, who starred in Drake and Josh, he revealed his Nickelodeon dialogue coach Brian Peck sexually abused him back in 2004. Brian and a production assistant were convicted of child sexual abuse. They were convicted.
Yes.
Here's what Drake said about Brian Peck's sentencing.
His entire side of the courtroom was full. There were definitely some recognizable faces on that side of the room. And my side was me, my mom, and my brother.
All right, just to clear it up, Tori was a little confused. That wasn't Brian Peck.
Thank
that
you.
was the victim.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. That was Drake. Yeah.
Yes.
And just so you guys know, Drake Bell revealed he woke up on Brian's couch the first time to Brian sexually assaulting him. That's the first time he remembered it. At this point, I don't know why, if I were Dan Schneider, I'd go on an interview and talk. That all of that's discovery.
I'll tell you why.
All of that's discovery.
Yeah, well, did you see the interview?
He just said, I apologize. That's claiming guilt. I don't know why. This guy could be.
He wasn't
sued.
sentenced to anything.
Correct, but he could be.
Oh no, I'm just making it clear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But in terms of Schneider's role, I mean, are you saying that him being complicit in harboring? Because that's what I see. I see at this point, and I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but I see Schneider being complicit in cultivating an environment that was safe for child predators to run around children all day unsupervised.
That's exactly what he said.
You have Peck, who was the who assaulted Drake Bell, and then you have Handy, who was the one who was the PA, who was found with tens of thousands of child pornography images, as well as souvenirs from children as young as 7 in his home.
Oh my gosh.
So when I look at this interview with Dan Schneider, I'm like, this is what happens when leadership is done absolutely wrong. And what I mean by that is in every industry, you have people who are 100% at the top of their game when it comes to the industry. They are the leader, but that doesn't necessarily mean them make them a leader or a manager of people. And when you put that type of power into people's hands, predatory people can always identify when you have a weak leader. And Dan Schneider, if he's guilty, I don't know what else he's guilty of, but he certainly is guilty of cultivating a place where predators are free to roam. Also, the idea of that courtroom, does that surprise anybody?
No.
Because for every person who's sitting on the side of Peck that day, that's a person saying, I am complicit as well, and I need this story to end and be silenced because there's something that is hiding around this community that I do not want to be exposed.
Well, that's where the money is. I mean, we're sitting here aghast and we're shocked that his side of the courtroom was full. I mean, Jeff, whenever you and I talk about just what's going on the show, I always say, listen to rap music. It explains everything. cash rules everything around me. He was making money. So no matter what, Erica, so what if you destroy a couple thousand kids? So what? I mean, don't worry, the public will have fun making fun of those children once they become Amanda Bynes wandering up and down Hollywood Boulevard. Then those kids that have been eviscerated move into another disgusting bucket that this country has, which is the TMZ vacation of them, where we laugh at Britney Spears, we laugh at all these kids that went through this. It never struck any adult like, wow, that's interesting. All these super talented kids that went to Juilliard, they could sing, dance, tap dance, act, recite a Shakespearean monologue, and they all lost their mind. But no one seems to have had a problem with that because, you know what, Erica? Check cleared. And until we as human beings stop having to look at the money as the almighty dollar and put everything aside, then this is what's going to happen. I'm sure people spoke up and they were gone and they got the message.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Man, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to DBL. It's been over 20 years since we were introduced to Bobby Bacala in The Sopranos. Now you can see Steve Sharippa as the DA investigator in Blue Bloods. And earlier we spoke with Steve, who actually wanted to weigh in on a story we've been talking about concerning Bruno Mars and his alleged gambling debt with the MGM Grand in Vegas. Take a look. Steve, welcome to DBL.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, guys? How are you?
So good. We're happy you're here. It's good to talk to you. I actually hear your name a lot because I'm a stand-up comic by trade, and a lot of comics that talk about their coming up talk about you being the entertainment director of the Riviera. So you've had quite the career.
Yeah, that's where I got started in Vegas. And I hear you talking about Bruno Mars. Now, I don't know if he owes $50 million, but he is or was a really big gambler at some point.
See?
Yes, allegedly.
I don't know.
Look, like I said, it didn't come from anywhere.
Could it be? And I'm just throwing this out there. Is he playing the hotel so he could pay off some of the debt? I don't know.
I like it. I like it. That's the way to start a segment, Spicy. We love it, brother. Now, Steve, you joined Blue Bloods in season 6, and now it's on its 14th. Congratulations. I'll say it again, 14th and final season. So talk to us, man. It's been a journey. I'm sure they're like a family. How are you feeling about the show coming to an end?
You know, I was very lucky, you know, obviously coming off The Sopranos, and I was on another show, Secret Life of the American Teenager, for 5 years. And I was lucky enough to get on Blue Bloods, which shoots in the streets of New York, which is where I'm from and live. So I was very happy. The cast is just wonderful. The writing is wonderful. I'm sad, but, maybe it's time to move on. I mean, I don't know. I've been through it 2 times before on some great shows, and, I'd like to explore some other stuff maybe. And it's been a great run, and everyone's terrific, seriously. And I'm not just saying that. But, it is what it is. It's out of my control. Maybe they'll go longer. You never know. They could change their mind. Who knows?
Well, speaking of moving on, when you do move on, is there anything from the set that you've kind of called dibs on that you're going to take for yourself?
There's some ridiculous trophy in my office. I have a tiny little office, and it's a ridiculous trophy. I think about riding horses, like I could actually ride a horse, right? Poor horse. But so I think I'm going to snatch that up, and I'll see what else is going on.
You have portrayed both sides of the law, right? Characters on both sides of the law. Which is more fun to play, the good guy or the bad guy?
I think the good guy. And the reason is, you got a lot of, listen, I'm pro-cop. I got a lot of cops coming up to me. They love the show. And, I say, do you believe me as a cop? And they say, yeah. Now, when I played a mob guy, you got a lot of mobsters come up to you. And I had one guy, and I'm bringing my I used to live in Little Italy during the show, and I'm bringing my dirty laundry down the block, and he goes, hey, Steve, come over here. Listen, I love the show, but anyone who's ever killed anyone knows that's not how you do it. And I went, okay, listen, Rocky, I got to get going. So we were approached a lot by mob guys, fat, sweaty Italian guys. I kind of like the cop thing, and I kind of like that better. Both shows are wonderful. I'm lucky to be on either one of them, so...
Steve, we only got like 30 seconds left, but I'm such a huge fan, and I want to ask you this question because my favorite episode of The Sopranos is when Chris and Paulie get lost in the woods, and you got that picture on your wall I saw right in back of you when you were hunting out there. What's your favorite? Is that one of your favorite scenes to shoot?
Yeah, well, I like that episode a lot. Obviously, I came and saved them in the woods, but I do like the fight scene. It was the first episode at the lake house, Soprano home movies, where Bobby and Tony get into a big fight, and I enjoyed that tremendously with Jim. And we did it 6 months later. We were up at the lake house, and Jim had bad knees. 6 months later, they rebuilt the cabin on a soundstage. Cost $250,000, and it took us a day and a half to shoot it. And the reason it looked real, 2 fat, out of shape, sweaty guys fighting. That's why it looked real.
Steve, for the record, not that anybody's keeping track, you won that fight.
Yeah, you did.
I know I did. I don't think I won in real life, though, but I know I did.
Nobody's knees won. That's true. Steve, thank you so much for joining us on DBL today. To our viewers, you can watch season 14 of Blue Bloods Fridays on CBS. My whole family loves it. Thank you again, Steve. It's an honor to talk to you.
Guys.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. Thanks, Steve.
Welcome back. Have you ever thought to yourself what kind of medical care you need in a high-stress moment? I definitely have. Then worry about how much it might cost you. I definitely have. Experts say that you should see your primary care physician for most issues, but urgent and emergency care, you should be your first choice if you're experiencing something out of the ordinary, some sort of emergency. Have you guys ever done this? I obviously have with me and my children.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what happened with you and your kids?
Well, I mean, dude, he sticks beads in his ear, this and that. How deep's that cut? Does he really need stitches?
Yes, absolutely. I was at a birthday party this past weekend. I was talking to a parent that a dog ran into her kid that was playing in the yard, that friend's dog, and broke the kid's leg, but she didn't know. And so the kid was limping around. She finally went to the doctor, and they were like, "This is broken." And she was like, "I didn't know. I thought it was just hurt." So it's like you never know when to go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a weird thing.
Oof.
Well, if healthcare costs are one of your top concerns, Better Benefits can help. When it comes to Medicare questions, many Americans already on the program may not have a plan with all the benefits accessible to them. So reach out to Medicare Advantage advisors today. The benefit review is free. Just call 800-909-2613. I like the sound of free. I don't care what it is.
Yes.
T-shirts,
$3.99.
stickers, I'll take it. We'll see you tomorrow.